Hey, welcome back to Sales Made Easy podcast. As always, this is Tom at Sales Made Easy. Email me for any questions you have on sales, and um, this is where we bring other people in to help us. Those of you that are just starting in sales, trying to figure out what to do, where to go, maybe learn some lessons from people like myself and Tony Tanzillo, who's gotten our heads beat in many times as a young salesperson, got our nose bloodied, right? So Tony's with Texas Air. And Tony, what's your title at Texas Air?
I'm Vice President of Sales, Tom, for DFW.
So he's VP of Sales. And there's some things about Texas Air. My experience with working with Texas Air is you have salespeople everybody wants. You have salespeople that are seems like they're hunters, go getters. And is there something special that you look for when you're hiring salespeople?
Yeah, Tom, thank you. First of all, thanks for inviting me on here. I appreciate it. It's always good to spend some time with you. You've become an instrumental part in our organization with helping us get our salespeople trained up well and give them more tools than they have and when before they walk in the room with you. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
So Texas Air is it's a pretty simple company. We manufacture nothing, and we sign representation agreements with companies that do manufacture stuff, and then we move their product within our given geographical footprint. Um, when we look for our sales staff, and this has evolved over the years. But number one thing we look for in a sales engineer is technical aptitude. We're in a high risk business. Any mistakes that we make or our team makes on the application of some HVAC stuff could definitely put us in a position where if a mistake is made, it could be detrimental to the operation of the customer's facility and wind up costing us a lot of money. So technical aptitude is probably a baseline thing we look for. It's kind of the resume, right? I can read a resume. Beyond that, we when the things that you can't write down in a resume, like a GPA, that we look for are moral and ethical standards. We make sure that we vet out our candidates to ensure that their moral standards are high, that they do the right thing when no one's looking, is what we say here. And we make sure that they are going to continue to operate in that fashion. We give them the tools to be entrepreneurs, but we also want to have that trust that they're going to do the right thing. Lastly, probably, well, not lastly, but I would say one of the more important things is an entrepreneurial spirit. We are not a business. We don't employ people that need to have somebody breathing down their neck every day about how many calls they need to make, how many quotes they need to be sending out. Those ratios are nothing that we typically talk about with our people. We want them to be great partners with their customers. We want them to be good partners with our manufacturers, and we want them to help their customers solve any problem they have. So having that drive and that fire in the belly to get up in the morning and early bird gets the worm philosophy right out of the gate and not be told to do it, they fit in very well. And then lastly, we like to hire people who hate to lose. So competitive is I would say, an understatement. We hire the absolute most hungry sharks that we can find, and it's not as much of their hunger, but it's the fact that when there's something that is out there and a customer of theirs is going after some type of a job or a business or a customer, that tenacity to make sure that they don't lose is something that is an integral part of the blood flow of a Texas Air Systems salesperson.
Well, it's interesting. There's a couple things that at being in sales as long as I have and yourself is finding someone that's technically right, astute, and in sales. Those are hard finds because you've been in the HVAC business a long time, and you've probably met many engineers that say, "I want to be a salesperson," and they don't come close to understanding what it takes to be a salesperson, right?
That's right. That's right. I think, Tom, the good news for us is that we have our base of customers is mixed up between your traditional customer of an HVAC manufacturer's rep, which is a mechanical contractor. Um, and then you have the non-buyers, which are the influencers, the consulting engineering community. And some customers in the mechanical community like to be entertained. They like to go fishing. They like to have a barbecue from time to time. Where a more stereotypical engineers, what people see when they what in their head when they think of a mechanical engineer, it's somebody sitting behind a desk with a computer open and running all kind of load calculations and stuff. So there are those out there in the mechanical engineering community. There is also some of those in the design build mechanical contracting business. Having that diversity in our sales force, not all of our salespeople like to go play golf and like to go fishing. They like solving problems. So having the diversity in our customers helps that, and then expanding into owner direct relationships and general construction companies and different types of buyers out there. We can't paint the brush of here's what a stereotypical salesperson looks like because our customers all look different as well.
Great point. Yeah, exactly right. It's not just one type of salesperson. I mean,
That's right.
I know so many times I've talked to business owners that they're looking for this one type, and it's like, who are you selling to? It's uh, interesting. I have a client that sells to aerospace, and one of the things I told him, I said, let's go find aerospace engineers that want to compete. Let's not find
Hmm.
salespeople. And
Right.
I think that's so true. No matter depending who you're selling to and what you're selling, it doesn't have to be that maverick guy that shoots from the hip all the time. It could be someone totally different. And I think a big thing in your world, and you correct me if you're wrong, is relationship building. You're not selling something. You're not selling a widget. You're selling a monster solution to like DFW Airport or the likes of that. And so relationship is monstrously big to you guys. And so what would you say a salesperson, um, you know, too often I talk to salespeople and they go, we're in a relationship business. And then I talk to them and I go, you don't understand what a relationship is. They have no concept. And so in your world, when you look at that, what do your people do to build relationships and make them strong and keep going?
Um, Perform, be their trusted advisor, and be consistently reliable for that customer. Um, we sell to the same customers over and over and over. At any given time, we can have 5 to 50 different jobs going at any one time that are in different stages of execution, from helping them estimate the job, put a value to it, all the way through till issuing a warranty. So having the repeatability of being a trusted partner that's going to have their back, that's going to help them stay out of trouble. It over time, the first transactions, when you watch a young salesperson who meets a new account, the first transaction's under a lot of scrutiny. But the predictability of being a trusted advisor for the customer and always being there or a step ahead to make sure that you are making their lives easier, to make them have a successful outcome to their job, is something that, if you do it properly, you build a lifelong relationship, and the businesses and the people continue to succeed together. There is. I've worked for other companies before Texas Air Systems, and a lot of our competition have 25 to 50 accounts per salesperson. There is a lot of salespeople in Texas Air Systems that have one or two accounts. And to your point, that relationship, once that relationship, the footers are poured, and you start to build the high rise building of the relationship of years of successes on top of those pillars. You find out that to do it right, you don't have time to be scattered all over the place. So that dedication to that partnership with those customers has, that, and inclusive of our pretty vast bill of material that we get to offer them, has led to a level of partnerships and relationships with customers that I think is one of Texas Air Systems' secret sauce, is the superiority of our relationship with our customers.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. You said trusted advisor. You said that several times. And I
Hmm.
think, especially in your world, being a trusted advisor means your salespeople probably have to have tough conversations every now and then, right? They have to say no to a customer to in the end, save their butt, but it's got to be a
Yep,
no today, even though you might get mad at me,
that's
right?
right.
Um, and I think that probably goes partly with the technical knowledge where I can say no because I know this is not a fit, right?
Right.
And so, can you expand on that a little?
Yeah, the tough conversation part, I mean, I think it's inclusive in the definition of a partnership. If you're treated like a vendor and you just let your customer's relationship with you be that type of relationship where you're just a vendor and they're beating you up on price and they're beating you up on, I mean, that's not a partnership. Um, there's companies out there that are really good at doing stuff like that. We're terrible at it. So when there's an opportunity for a job that has an owner that goes south, and there's a tightening up of the funds that are available, us financing a job for a long term with a contractor, that in some cases is required as a partner. But when it's treated like a vendor and they're just trying to um, hold money or be late on payment, stuff like that. I mean, it's just those kind of relationships. They're not really partnerships. So we force the partnership of, let's sit down and talk about the money. Let's talk about the design issues. Let's talk about the uncomfortable things that are the elephants in the room that sometimes people are afraid to speak of. That fear is a sign of the lack of strength of the relationship. So that's a red flag for us, and that's probably one of the few times where, as a salesperson for Texas Air Systems, you'll get a tap on the shoulder from one of our leaders that will insert themselves in the conversation and start challenging the salesperson to make sure they're elevating that relationship.
Got it, got it. And I know that you mentioned it earlier about we also need to have someone that's ethical and moral, and which kind of is a foundation for your culture. Your culture is very strong, even though you might think it's not. It's very strong culture with um, because if you didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to keep the great people that you have, and the retention of the
Right.
salespeople um, is very strong, from what I understand at Texas Air. So, uh, as far as what do you see? I mean, it's almost like a natural culture, that it just happens with the flow of the people you have. It, describe it a little bit to us if you can.
Well, it's the culture at Texas Air Systems is a result of some of the things that we've already talked about. The dedication to winning. There's very few transactions that we have where the winner uh, is a 100% commission sales cut on any given job. There are so many different people that touch a project, whether it's the engineering community, a general construction company, the owner. You know, I would say 95 to 99% of our jobs are a split with another salesperson in the office. So the engineers, covered by Joe, and Sam covers the owner. And Sam's the one that's trying to get the purchase order. If Sam doesn't do his job and doesn't get that order, having a bunch of tenacious salespeople that want to win all the time, that person starts to stand out as a person that's not holding up their end of the bargain. Um, so that winning culture is, I would say, it's probably a little intimidating for people that are coming into our business. But at the same time, it's also reassuring because at any given point, you're not expected to know everything, and you can ask a question and you will get help. And I've had people come into this organization and check in with them 6 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years down the road, and the consistent feedback we always get is it's a true team of people that are making sure that everyone has the opportunity to be successful, and having that culture that we're built upon is something that we actually interview for it. We talk about it when we bring somebody on, but it's so strong that when someone is not emulating our cultural values, the team itself, the sales team, the peers, they start to identify it before it ever gets brought to the attention of leadership, and it tends to work itself out. um, mostly with having the ability to see a salesperson that's struggling and watch their peers gather around them and help them. And if they don't accept the help right away, there's probably a little pressure that's going to come that's going to help them understand they should accept the help from their peers. So you're right, Tom. It's such a part of our blood flow now that it requires very little effort to keep it in control, and it requires very little effort to identify when there's somebody that sneaks through our hiring process that doesn't necessarily fit that culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think a lot of companies don't understand the word culture, and it's probably overused a lot. I was recently in California, and interesting. I was looking at these people picking fruit and vegetables out in the farms. Taylor Farms has these monster farms that they have these people on. And it was funny. The guy said, "You want to know what they get paid?" I said, "Probably minimum wage." He goes, "No, those people get paid a lot of money." Really? They're paid on basically a commission. The quality of the fruit or produce they pick and the quantity. And he says it kind of reminded me of what you just said, because he says when we work in pods, there's 5 or 6 people that work a line cutting the fruits and vegetables and making sure they're right. And when we hire a new person, they go into that pod. Well, this pod is paid on commission, how much the quality they pick. So if that person doesn't fit in well within that first day, they're gone. I mean, it's the team itself gets rid of it. And it's a lot like what I've seen at Texas Air. The team itself takes care of itself,
Yep.
and you become part of the team, or you're probably not going to be there long. But the team will do everything possible to help you be successful, right?
That's absolutely, and I'm glad to hear that philosophy is working well in the fruit picking business too. It's a man. I'll tell you, it's funny too, because I've worked for big companies that hire a lot of really smart people in C-suite type jobs that can tell you KPIs and statistics out the yin yang, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the right culture built, then nothing will happen.
Yep. It's all wasted. You can
That's right.
talk a good game. You can put all those nice words on the wall, but don't mean nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
right.
so appreciate your time. And one last question. If you got a new salesperson, I know you sometimes hire young kids out of college, and you had someone new, and I think this is good for anybody um, listening in, is what 3 things or 4 things you'd say to that new salesperson that just came to Texas Air out of college or whatever? What piece of advice would you say to that person to be successful?
So keeping in mind that the trajectory, Tom, we hire people out of college. The only people that come into this business and actually become a salesperson on day one are people with existing experience. So a new hire fresh out of college comes in a assistant project manager estimator role, and they get plugged into a sales team. They know that they're going to have a journey for 3-5 years before they're going to have the opportunity to become an outside salesperson. A lot of so think about that time frame, and then go back to the some of the things that we look for when we hire people. Tenacious people that like to win. So if you have a mechanical engineering degree, you have it in your mind. You walked out of your university graduation with that diploma, and now you want to be a salesperson. The hardest thing is patience. So the first thing we tell people when they come in the door is whether or not you want to be a great project manager or whether or not you want to be a great salesperson, just be patient. We have the luxury and the privilege of 60 to 70 of the top manufacturers in their own product category that make the best product, have the best customer service, and are the best partners that you can find in the business. That over the 45 years Texas Air Systems has been in business, being able to compile and hand select many of those throughout these years, they are the best of the best. So having the luxury of having all them on our line card, and it's not one organization. So when you open up your computer in the morning, and you're a project manager, to go and get technical details off of, you know, a job that has 16 different products on it, you're probably going to 16 different icons and using 16 different username and passwords to get into their system. Um, and it can be extremely overwhelming from a project management perspective. And then when you come in and you see the success of some of our senior salespeople that are, took accounts from a cold call 5 years ago to an account that could be our single largest account in the entire family of businesses, that can be pretty intimidating. So making sure people understand that opportunity is out there for them. It's going to take time. It's going to take time to learn all the manufacturers and their idiosyncrasies, their technical details. Tenacious people typically have problems with patience. So we tell them rule number one: be patient. Um, most of them, we got to tell them be patient once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that, because you can see the tenacity starts to become overwhelming. um, the next thing, the next phase of their career as they become more comfortable, the second thing we typically tell them is, um, be intentional, do something different intentionally. Don't take everything you've learned from somebody else to be the rule, and that there's bumpers set up around those processes that they were taught by a peer or someone else in the business. Challenge us, challenge the business, challenge our manufacturers, do something different. If you find a better way of doing something, try it. Let's talk about it. If it works, then let's incorporate it into our business. And that's all based on, that's on the heels, Tom, of you know Texas Air Systems has we have a great market, we have great people, and that has allowed for some great success in our company. We cannot allow our past success or our present success to be our Achilles heel in the future of going out and trying new things. It's an ever changing world. The dynamics are different every day, so we've got to continue to challenge ourselves. And then I would say the third thing is when you're struggling being patient, when you're struggling trying to figure out what to do different than everyone else to put your mark out there, to be the best partner you can be. Make sure that you are treating your peers with respect. Make sure you're treating your customers with respect, and our manufacturer partners. One of the things that drives us every day, we actually manage our business inside and out based on the tagline under Texas Air Systems that says building partnerships. We are on an unwavering pursuit to build the best partnerships we can, and making sure that we have selfless people that come into this organization that aren't looking for recognition for themselves, but they're looking to do the best they can for the organization, which includes all of their peers and our manufacturer partners and our customers. You have got to maintain focus on being the best partner you can be every day. I think that's probably, they're probably, we say a lot of other stuff on advice and stuff like that, but I think at the core, just being patient, being intentional about doing something different, and being and upholding the building partnerships tagline is something that we repeat over and over again.
That's great. You think all the stuff that you basically just said is number one is who we're hiring is we're looking for someone with technically good, but also that competitive edge, that want to be different, that want to stick out, but also that has to have patience, right? And you think about the point of technical knowledge, have to have patience, have to want to be part of a team and a culture, has to be willing to learn, and has to be willing to fail and try something different. And if it fails, we learn from it. We're great. You're part of the fit here. But if you don't even try anything new, sorry, we've got plenty of those people at the competitors. We want
That's
someone
right.
that's always looking for something different.
There's someplace else great for them to work.
Right. Tony, I really thank a lot for what you've given us. I mean, just, the thought, if you want to be great at sales, think about some of the things Tony said. It's number one, it's not doing it on your own. It's got to be a good teamwork to be successful. I see too many salespeople. I think their ego gets in the way of not willing to say, "Hey, I failed," right, or look for help from others. So think about that: are you part of a culture? and if you're going to complain about wherever you're working that culture's not right, become the culture you want it to be before you complain about it. Number one, but got to find people that hate to lose. Got to be a trusted advisor. Ask the tough question. Not in it for the price deals, right? Um, and just so much that you've given us to take from, Tony. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks, Tom. Appreciate this. Has really been awesome, and it's a humbling experience for us here at Texas Air to be asked to do this with you and your team. So appreciate you.
All right, Tony. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks. And I'll shut it.